I just wanted to kind of give you a state of the chamber, where we've come from and where we are now. But before I do that, if we could just have a moment of silence for Wayne Bursey, past president and emeritus, who passed away this year. Thank you so much. Well, I can tell you it's been an honor to serve the membership as president over this past year. For those who've heard my story before, if you could just listen along for a little bit, I guess I can do that because I'm president. But June 2014, I took over as president, and just after I did that, as everyone knows, longtime executive director, Charity Folk, who had been with us for 23 years, decided to move on. And at that moment, at the end of June, after 1 month, we had no executive director. And it was a real challenge. And people looked at me and they come up to me and say, the sky's falling. I don't know how we're going to do this. We're never going to make it without her. And they were right in a way. I mean, there was a lot to be done. That summer was such a huge summer. There was so much to do. I appreciate everything that all the board members did to help out. We pretty much ran that office, and also with the help of Al Morrow. Al came in, and he's got a lot of experience working with Charity in the past, so he kind of helped us feel our way through the office and the gigantic book of everything that we ever needed to know about the chamber that Charity left behind for us. We couldn't have done it without you, Al. But the big story comes when we actually went to look for a new executive director. And one of my philosophies coming in as president was we really need to start reaching out to the membership for their talents. This cannot be a chamber just run by the board. It has to be run by the membership as well. So thank goodness Dan Correa and Trish Thomas, who are both very experienced in human resources, they really set up a very professional search program for us, and they had a vision on how this needed to be done. They did all the calls for all the candidates, and really we had a wonderful pool. But there was one person who always rose to the top, and who is now here with us. And Lisa Gray has been with us since September, and you've done just a wonderful job. So thank you very much, Lisa. You know, Lisa, I remember you jumped in right away. You weren't even officially an employee in September Fest. She came to the home show. She was in our booth handing out flyers and water and everything, and just you really jumped in. And I don't think you've stopped swimming. I mean, it's been awesome. So you know, and there's been a lot of changes that's happened over the course of this year. Our board has changed. You know, we've really gotten to the point where the committees in the past were heavily weighted on board members, and we've really reached out to the membership. And in fact, at one point with our marketing committee, we lost our chair, which was a board member, and then we brought in 6 other just regular general membership to fill that committee so we could keep our marketing efforts moving forward. And that's the way all the committees and task forces have gone. The board meetings have been streamlined quite a bit, and most of the decisions that have been made over the course of the year were not made with the executive committee. And I really had a real focus on making sure that our entire board, and they'll tell you, you know, I was very adamant, the whole board needs to make the decision. Unless it's a quick decision to keep things going for Lisa, I said, we're all meeting, we're all agreeing, this is our chamber, not just an elite few. So it was a great group, and I got to say, all the board members that I've worked with over the past year, we've had a lot of change, and you've stuck with me, and what great energy. Everybody's so enthusiastic, so I appreciate everything that you've done. The chamber itself has changed a lot. We've really focused, as I said before, a lot about member outreach. when Lisa came on board, the first thing she did is hit the streets. You were knocking door to door, and you were going and actually asking people what they like, what they need, and that makes a big difference, just hitting that street. The other thing, Greta took over my baby, which was the Ambassador Committee, and you have done such a wonderful job. The Ambassador Committee, for those that don't know, is really, and correct me because you've kind of taken off from here, but they've got programs like new members come in, they adopt a member, making sure that they show up to networking events and they feel comfortable coming in. This morning you saw the greeters, they're all ambassadors, they're helping out. And they make phone calls out to the membership to get a pulse of how things are going in the chamber and bring that back to the office and to the board so we make sure that we're serving the membership properly. So I just want to take a moment. If the ambassadors could just kind of stand up so that we can give them a round of applause, because they're really the workhorse behind this chamber. The other major focus that we had in my year was community outreach, and it took many forms. One of the things I was really passionate about coming into the board was that we needed to start some type of health and wellness initiative, and so we tried it once. It kind of didn't work. But then Joe Scheinman came in as our chair of our Health and Wellness Task Force, and you just kind of, Joe, you mind just standing up for a second? I gotta thank you for everything you've done. So this task force is really set to embrace the community of Simsbury. There's so much going on in town right now with the Rails to Trails and the biking and the bike month and everything else. There's so much going on. So, we've worked with the Farmington Valley Health District, Simsbury Free Bike, chamber members at large. We participated in the Bike to Work Day. We got a great group of people coming in. Rob Britton had at least half a dozen of his employees ride in from People's Bank. We were there at the triathlon. We also, for those that don't know, participated in the Relay for Life. We had a goal of $1,000, and Lisa got it over $1,500 for the Relay for Life that just went on. So that was a great accomplishment too. We're also in the process of actually working on a fun run. It's a weekly thing that we'll be doing downtown, hoping to meet over by the Redstone Pub, and then maybe go out for a few miles for a run, stop back for a beer, like on a I don't know if it's a Tuesday or Thursday night, but it's kind of a way to get everybody out there, get them moving, and have some fun. So you'll be seeing some emails coming out about that. The other great thing that we've been doing in the community is we're working with the town on this hub, and it's this hub of us and tourism, Main Street Partnership, and the town of Simsbury. So it's one place where people can come together for tourism and businesses, and we can all interact together. So, it's a slow process, and the location of that, where it's going to end up or where it's going to go, but we definitely have a commitment to continue to work with the town on that moving forward, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. The last thing, of course, is our huge and our largest committee, which is the Government Affairs. You've been so active, and Lou George has been chairing that for a long time, so I appreciate all the work you've done on a great committee there, Lou. Just a couple other quick things. I know there's a list of all our accomplishments, but some big things. Lisa brought back the written directory after 5 years, which is a big thing. People have been asking for that. Came up with a very creative way to not only make it something that isn't costly for the chamber, but actually becomes somewhat of a profit center for us. The new website, if anybody hasn't seen, huge improvement. Thank you so much, Lisa, for that. The biggest, most exciting thing is Lisa's got this Chili Challenge Spooktacular going on in Halloween, and what a great way to kind of change the direction of the chamber. A big town event. And this is not just a chili cook-off. This isn't something that your local church does. This is an actual International Chili Cook-Off Society sanctioned event. There's actual competitors coming into this event specifically. We went to the one out in Summers, and they're already talking about the one in Simsbury. So this is for local people. This is for us to sit there and enjoy. But this is an actual event where people come specifically for this. So it's bringing people outside Simsbury into Simsbury, as well as providing for the community as well. So, and then lastly, for those that have no travel plans next year, we've got the trip to Tuscany. So, you know, and I guess that goes with Lisa's background with her business she used to have with the travel business, but I think it's great. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. The only other thing I'll leave you with is that we did do something a little different with our planning session this year. It was actually a really busy year. There were so many things going on, but we brought in a moderator, which was really nice because it allowed Lisa and I to really be involved in the process as opposed to kind of running it. But again, the focus came down to membership outreach and growth, and that's really what it's all about. We're here to serve the membership and come up with new programs. I'm so glad that everyone has been involved through the board, through the membership. People just kind of creeped up through, and all their talents and all their leadership kind of came up through the ranks. So I really appreciate everything that everyone's done. Thank you so much. So, I don't know if anybody knows who this is, but this is actually Ike on a bike. This is something that Lisa put together. We've got our little flat Stanleys of Ike on a bike. But again, the focus being on health and wellness and being part of the community. And if you've seen our new logo that was actually done by Kelly Kearney, one of our former board members, him and his marketing crew did a great job putting that together, and really embraces how we're involved in the community. I'd like to welcome up Chip Houlihan, our new incoming president, who will give us a few remarks.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the Board of Directors for their expression of confidence in me, and I pledge to give my best to you, the members of the Chamber. It is important to reflect on how far we have come during the past year. Charity was our foundation and our glue for so many years that she made the operation of the Chamber look effortless. Ron accepted a Herculean task when he became the first president in our memory without that constant support. For months, he regularly camped out in the Chamber's office, neglecting his business, to keep our Chamber advancing. The selection process for the executive director was a positive event for the board. It brought Dan Correa's talents to our attention, and it imposed significant time commitments from Ray Lagan, Ron Locandro, Anthony Calandrillo, Margie Jakubowski, and Trish Thomas. Their efforts brought Lisa Gray to the Chamber, and her relentless effort and dedication has delivered tangible improvement to our programs, our website, and our direction. Her talents and contributions will benefit us in many ways, large and small. I take the office of the president at a time when the Chamber is in the ascendancy. The Spooktacular Chili Fest is scheduled for Halloween and will be a major event for the town. Many of us, to conduct an investigation, went to Summers recently, where they've had a chili fest for 30 years. 10,000 people attended. It was a major event, and we are drafting on some of the organizational talent from that to help us as we organize our chili fest. We hope that this opportunity will create another signature event for the town. We have a creative, purposeful, and committed group of directors. The committee structure is stronger than ever. Government Affairs, led by Lou George, remains among the most informative and useful meetings I attended over the past 20 years. The Health and Wellness Committee is actively developing ways to bring the health and wellness programs of large enterprises to the small business community. The Ambassadors Program is actively promoting inclusion of members and soliciting their ideas and their input. The Education Committee continues its success in introducing students to the world of business. And the Chili Committee will come knocking on your door for the help and support we need to carry off our Chili Fest. The mission of the Chamber is to expand business opportunities for its members and to highlight the many contributions made by you to the civic life of the community. We are justifiably proud of the many elements which make Simsbury an attractive and engaging community, and we recognize that much of the credit goes to the support of the business community. As we have in the past, we will continue to make a positive and generous contribution to the community in which we work. Thank you very much.
There might be a few of you whom I have not met yet, so if you're out there, my name is Lisa Gray. I'm the Executive Director of the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce. I thank you very much for coming today. I first met our retiring president, Ron Locandro, last summer when I was interviewing for this position. And naturally, I was a little anxious, but his laid-back demeanor and warm personality immediately put me at ease. Working closely together since that time, I am honored to now call him a friend. He led this organization through a very challenging transitional period with discretion and honesty, setting aside the demanding obligations of his own business and family to deftly meet those of the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce. Ron, you and I have seen a lot of positive developments in the last 8 months that we've worked together. You never said no to any of my ideas, no matter how crazy they might have seemed, and you've supported me every time I brought a new one before the Board of Directors. I am grateful for your faith and trust in me, and promise to keep this momentum going to fulfill our vision of the Simsbury Chamber being the most respected, valued, and effective chamber in the region. Ron, come on up. Ron, we would like to thank you for your energy, attitude, leadership, and service to the Chamber and the business community. We wish you every success on whatever path you may choose. And so on behalf of the Simsbury Chamber and its Board of Directors, I am pleased to honor you with this plaque commemorating your year as President of the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce. Sorry, it's all wrapped up. Got a hammer on there.
It's got a hammer. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Very appropriate. I'm going to sit this right up here. Some scissors make a lot of banging noise. Thank you so much, Lisa. It's been great to work with you over the past 8 months. You bring so much energy, and so it was a lot of fun to work together. So I'm definitely going to miss it. People ask me, they say, "Are you running away?" I said, "No. I've got a lot going on. My business is growing. It's actually up 40% this year, which is marvelous. And I've got so much work to do. I've got a daughter who's a junior, and she's going to be going off to college, so we need to look at colleges. And then I got the stupid idea to run a marathon. It all goes to motivating my kids, but really they all take time, and it was just the right time. And thank you, Chip, for stepping up. Chip's going to be a great leader. He's been a great help over the past year, and I just see great things happening with this chamber. So before we move on with the rest of the awards, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize some of the former board members who have transitioned off the board over the past year for different reasons, but also my friends, each one of them. They were all very helpful in the direction that we've gone in. So I wanted to thank Margie Jakubowski, who's here today. Rachel D'Amata, Kelly Kearney, Anthony Calandrillo, Trish Thomas, Gary Burdick, and Logan Sullivan. Thank you so much for your service. We couldn't have done it without you. So I'd like to ask Chip Houlihan to come on up here, and he's going to present the Business Leader of the Year Award.
For those of us with a few years under our belt, we remember the skills of Jackson Eno, and followed by the gentle, persistent grassroots campaign by Barry Laux to develop and launch Simsbury Bank. Barry was our 2005 Business Leader of the Year. And so it was fair for us to wonder in 2004 who was succeeding Barry when Martin Geitz was named as the president of the bank. Today is a testament to the sound judgment of Barry and his fellow directors in bringing Martin to the bank and to the town. The Business Leader of the Year award recognizes business leadership and professional accomplishment. During Martin's tenure, the bank has doubled in size, both in business and employment. It now employs more than 90 people. It has expanded into Bloomfield. The bank has been a very successful venture. Martin's professional accomplishments and recognition are many. He's currently a board member of the Federal Home Loan Bank of Boston. He was president of the Connecticut Community Bankers Association. He was chairman of the Connecticut Bankers Association and also chairman of the Hartford Economic Development Corporation, HEDCO. These organizations recognize what bank directors have long recognized, that Martin has extraordinary vision regarding where banking is headed and the issues to be confronted on that path. Under his leadership, Simsbury Bank has been a strong supporter of the civic events which distinguish the town. This summer, this bank is the presenting sponsor for the summer concert series at the Simsbury Performing Arts Center. It is also the Business Expo sponsor at Septemberfest. They sign up long in advance. The bank has been a regular contributor to the Talcott Mountain Music Festival. This year, the bank has supported improvements to the Little League baseball fields, the Simsbury Crew House renovations, and the Veterans Memorial. Martin takes as much pride in the contributions made by the bank to the smaller events in our town, the arts group, the school project, the Boy Scout troop project, and countless other smaller charitable and community endeavors that are done without fanfare and without recognition, but add substantially to the texture of our town. And that community support from the bank flows from the top down. Martin is a person who goes beyond just the financial contributions of his bank, and he demonstrates his personal stewardship in a number of different areas and ways. He is a trustee for the McLean affiliates. He is a trustee and treasurer of the Simsbury Free Library. He served as president for the Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, and he forgot to warn me about that position. He is a board member, active member of the Simsbury Meadows Performing Arts Center. He is described by his fellow directors as an active, involved, and thoughtful member of the organizations. He never just phones it in. When he makes a commitment, he's there. He is a man of many commitments. He fulfilled his pledge to his family to bring them to see every Major League Baseball team in the country. This award recognizes the cultivation of a favorable image for business in the community, and outstanding contributions to the business community, and the projection of a positive image for the town of Simsbury. Martin has satisfied all these conditions for the award. He has made outstanding contributions to the town of Simsbury, and today we recognize the value of his leadership and involvement in our lives. And with that, I'm pleased to present the Business Leader of the Year Award to Martin Geitz.
Thank you.
Okay. And you can have a few
Got
things.
brief comments?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Chip, for those very kind comments. I didn't realize I did all those things, so I appreciate that. And thank you to the Board of Directors of the Simsbury Chamber for this really extraordinary honor. I'm very humbled by it, and thank you all very much for the opportunity. I would like to accept this award, though, on behalf of my entire team. The Simsbury Bank team, both our directors and our employees. As many of you know, our bank is celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. And the directors who came together, the folks who came together to found Simsbury Bank back in the early 90s, wanted to have a bank here in Simsbury for the long run. And so all of us who work at the bank make our decisions every day from the point of view of what do we need to do in order to be competitive and to be in the marketplace for the long run, because that's where we want to be from a mission point of view. And of course, Simsbury Bank's success is intricately tied into the town of Simsbury's health and welfare. And so, like all banks, we are a reflection of the local economy, and our success is tied to the town's health and, of course, to the business community's health. So our involvement and our support of the many organizations that Chip just talked about is really benefiting not only the town and making this a great place to live and a great place to do business, but frankly, it benefits our bank. And so we're going to continue to do that for a long time into the future. Our mission as a bank is very much aligned with the Chamber of Commerce's mission. We want to make sure that this continues to be a great place to do business for small businesses, for medium-sized businesses, for large businesses, and we're going to work hard to support the Chamber's activities in the future. As I mentioned, I'm very honored to take this, to accept this award on behalf of the entire Simsbury Bank team, the directors and the employees. You know, without the employees that many of you see every day, as well as the many employees that you don't see every day, we would not be able to do the things that we do for our customers and for the community. I cannot be successful in my role unless I have a great team, and I'm really blessed to have a really outstanding team. So, again, thank you all very much for this great honor, and looking forward to working many years in the future to support this town.
At this point, I'd like to welcome up Lisa Heavner, First Selectman, to present the Public Servant of the Year Award.
I got to lower that a little bit. And good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations to all of today's honorees, Martin, Mary, and Melissa. We are so proud of you. A special thank you to Chamber, the Board of Directors, and to Lisa Gray especially, for taking time to honor people who give back to our community. It is always very exciting to be here for this. Amanda, pictures when Mary's up here. I don't need them. On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, it is our pleasure to be here. Joining me are Nancy Hasse and Mike Payne. I'd like to recognize Mary Glassman and her family, Amanda and Andy, who are here with her today. They're over at table 4. Give a little wave. People may not know Amanda. Mary and I are great fans of reading. We read a lot. And often, the first thing we do when we run into each other is ask, what are you reading? And we often exchange ideas about what we're reading, talk about what we like, what we don't like. And many of our conversations start with what we're reading. I recently finished Frank, which is a book by an autobiography by Barney Frank. And in it, he talked about the business of politics and public service, its virtues and its challenges. In one passage, he mentions, I have attempted to rebut a popular misperception about politics, that public offices are filled with ambitious, driven men. Women are rarely included in this stereotype, whose electoral success is the result of a carefully plotted pursuit of political victory. I'm going to repeat that, a carefully plotted pursuit of political victory. What this omits is the crucial role that luck plays in the process. I found this passage interesting because, one, I'm not sure Frank was right about the woman reference, but two, the mention of luck in all this. Mary didn't want to run for office the first time she ran. She was asked to run and said no, as in fact so many women and men I know have said. Politics is often seen as something others do. We see what it's like on TV and we want no part of it. But through persistence on the part of many friends and family members, and Mary's actually sincere and true desire to serve her community, she finally accepted, with the promise, you'll never win anyway. And this is true. This is what people said to her to get her to run. She has told me many times the story of when she actually won. Mary left the room where everyone was to a room where no one was. Okay, it was actually a closet. And she shut the door. And she cried. What just happened? I'm not ready for this. I don't want this. You said I wouldn't win. And these are all things that she actually said. I think it's a telling story for several reasons. Sometimes life takes you down paths you don't expect to travel. And suddenly there you are. And you step up, you find a challenge ahead you didn't expect. And the burden of doing the very best you can because others are counting on you. It was and is an awesome responsibility. It is also a telling story because this very strong woman that we know and love started there. And look at what she became. It is a reminder to those that those in politics are not always others with unchecked ambition. Sometimes they're just us, making our way, trying to do our best, sometimes stumbling, for the community we love. When I asked her how she did it, she always credits the wonderful people in our community that helped her along the way. Sound advice, offers to help, encouragement, and yes, criticism to get her back in her lane. In a word, she credits you. So many in this room have had an impact on Mary and helped her get to where she is. And boy, oh boy, did she soar. Simsbury is on the map today because of the many initiatives and strong leadership she brought to town. You can never go wrong if you always try to do what is right for Simsbury, is a phrase that she repeats even today. Today, Simsbury is the first bicycle-friendly town in Connecticut. By the way, I like Ike. And has won recognitions for National Historic Trust, dozen distinctive designations, Preserve America Community, Money Magazine's Top 50 Best Places to Live, and many more that I can't even recount. Mary brought the first town-inclusive planning process, a charrette. None of us knew what the word meant at the time, and I'm not entirely sure what the word means today. But what it did do was bring the community together to create a vision of where we want Simsbury to go. Because of Mary, Simsbury now has some of the first form-based codes in Connecticut. Give it up. Okay, it's a little wonky, but it's actually very, very impressive. During Mary's tenure, the town of Simsbury went through some very difficult times. We had 5 major storms within 2 years, including, oh, I see Tom Cook smiling over there. We all remember that. Including the 2011 storm with lights out for more than a week, caring for over 7,000, I'll repeat that, over 7,000 people who came to the town shelter. In 2008, we faced the worst economic challenge since the Great Depression. While we can't always control the conditions we face, we are masters of how we respond. And Mary stepped up and helped steer Simsbury back on course. I have been honored to work with her on some of Simsbury's most conservative budgets as a response to the Great Recession. Mary has taken the lead on regional cooperation and collaborations to reduce costs to taxpayers. And most importantly, she has been a great friend to many, including me. She is always willing to lend a hand, comfort the grieving, advise, laugh, and debate important issues. In a word, she is kind. I, too, said no when she asked me to run with her almost 6 years ago. She finally convinced me with the call to service that she firmly believes in. I don't need or want you to be a politician. I just would like you to continue to serve the community in this way. In a small town, you really can make a positive difference, and your chances of winning aren't great. I would be remiss if I didn't speak of Mary's other accomplishments. A journalist by first trade, a lawyer, an advocate for children, and now an advocate for regional efficiencies through CREC. But what she is most proud of is her family, so I recognize them here. Andy, Amanda, Nate, and Sam. I know they join me and all of you in sharing our pride in Mary's accomplishments. Mary, can you please come up so I can present you with the Public Servant of the Year Award? I just want to point out, I have a typed speech, and she wrote hers on the back of a napkin.
Wow, thank you, Lisa. That's a wonderful tribute, and congratulations to my fellow honorees. It's great to see you both here, well-deserving. Martin, you and Brenda have been friends for a long time. It's great to see you being honored. And Melissa, where are you? A neighbor and a friend, and it was fun watching your children grow up as well. So congratulations. And to Ron, congratulations to you on a successful year. I'm glad I got a chance to work with you. And to my good friend Chip and his wife Shelley, congratulations on the adventure that you're about to embark, and good luck. So I wasn't going to say anything today, but that's not my way. And I was driving and listening to Jim Calhoun on the radio, and he was talking about his cancer challenge and how he needed to get out there, and they asked him, why he's doing it. And he said, well, when someone put you in a position where you're fortunate to have a microphone in front of you, you should use it for good purposes. So I have a microphone, and I wanted to share with you just a couple observations from 24 years in public office. And it's hard to believe that I'm at this point where it was that long that I served. I was elected in 1991. I had 2 kids. Amanda was 4. And I had a baby on the way, which I didn't know at the time. And here we are, many years later. And my daughter, Amanda's here with us today. She lives in Los Angeles, and she's a screenwriter. And congratulations. Thank you, Neil Sullivan, and all the teachers at Simsbury High. She's done a great job. So, Amanda, congratulations. And if anyone has any good stories they'd like to see on the big screen, she'll be available after lunch. You can share those things. So, top 10 best things I've learned over the last 24 years. Number 1, family is so important. And thank you, Andy and Amanda and Nate and Sam aren't here for all your support, but we would not be in the positions we're in without the support and the sacrifices that family makes so we can do what we do. So, Andy, I'm sorry for all those meals that you never got. And Amanda, sorry for picking you up late from soccer or sometimes forgetting to pick you up from Sunday school. So sorry about that. Number 2, education is the greatest gift we can give our children. My mom grew up in foster care. She taught us that we needed an education to take care of ourselves. I've seen the value of having the education as a journalist. I was able to go to UConn, able to pay for it myself, able to go to UConn Law School at night. It was $500 a year. And the gift of an education is something we all have a responsibility to give our children. I've been fortunate to live in a community where we have that priority. But now, in my new position as the manager of Office of Regional Efficiencies at the Capital Region Education Council, the challenge just across the street to our neighbors is even greater, and we have the biggest achievement gap in the country within 7 miles of our borders. So we not only need to take care of our children in Simsbury, but as I move on to different challenges, I hope that we can share the gift that we give our children and make sure that we give that gift to all of our children. 3, strength of community. The fact that we provide for each other has always been the reason I ran for office at all. The fact that our community looks out for each other, the fact that we take care of our seniors, we take care of our children, we provide for public safety, we provide for all the things that we do, makes this a very special place to live, and one that I was very proud to serve and represent. Number 4, the importance of the strength of a business community. The fact that you're all here, the fact that you're all engaged, the fact that you work to make sure the business community is strong, to make sure they're involved, the fact that you have a government affairs committee. That's so important because community leaders need to hear when they're making mistakes. The fact that we did the Hartford charrette, initially people weren't sure. There was some political disagreements about whether we should fund planning process for the Hartford Insurance Group, the fact that the Chamber stood up and said, yes, this is important for our community. Yes, good planning makes for a good community, and we will be there by your side as you take on this difficult challenge. And that is so important, and you've done such a great job over the years as a Chamber and being involved, and I hope that you continue under Chip's leadership doing what you've done. Number 5, passion. For whatever, passion for your spouse, passion for what you do. That's another reason I think I kept running for office. Every time I told my husband, this is it, I'm not running again. Election time came, there I was, my name was on the ballot. It's because the passion, it was so inspiring to work alongside people who were so passionate about open space. We started with no farm in Simsbury preserved. None, not one. Not Flammick Farm, not Rosedale, not Telmeadow, nothing. And the fact that there were people in our community that were passionate that farms needed to be preserved for generations has led to all of our farms being preserved. Even little George Hall's farm has been preserved, and 32% of the town is now open space. The fact that we're bike-friendly, and I know Diana's here, that came from passion about keeping healthy and being bike-friendly and setting our sights high. There were no towns in Connecticut that were bike-friendly, none. Simsbury was the first. There were no towns that were silver. Simsbury's the first. How exciting to work hand in hand and side by side with people who are passionate about what they believe in and to make those things happen. Also, the Talcott Mountain Music Festival that was mentioned earlier, and I know Martin's been a big supporter of that, but when we started the Talcott Mountain Music Festival 24 years ago, there was no Talcott Mountain Music Festival. There was no venue. There was no anything except a couple people were passionate that the Hartford Symphony should play in the summer and we should expose people to that concert. So we mowed some grass at the Hartford, and it began with an idea and some passion. And here we are 24 years later with the Avid Brothers coming. I'm excited about that. Compassion, that goes along with passion. And I know Lisa mentioned it, but and I know Tom was having a heart attack rather than smiling over there when Lisa mentioned the storms and the difficulty. But I think that was Simsbury's truest and finest hour. The fact that people came together and helped neighbors, the fact that they took care of each other, the fact that friendships were formed on the cots in the high school, the fact that Andy and I once spent the night with the chief. Oh, I shouldn't say that way. I spent the night with the, no, that's worse, so never mind. The fact that we tried to get home because I needed to be here. We were in Boston at a parent weekend, and it started snowing, and Annie and I tried to get home, and we couldn't, and we ended up at Town Hall for 2 days before we could get home. But the fact that people took care of each other, it's something I will never forget. It's something that shows me the strength of what communities can accomplish when they just do the right thing and take care of each other. Indifference. I have not only worked in Simsbury, but I also had the honor of working up at the Capitol in the state legislature as staff, chief of staff for Lieutenant Governor, attorney in the House of Representatives, attorney in the Senate. And I think indifference is contagious. So I would just leave you with that thought, that if you, as a community or as a state, think things are okay the way they are, it's contagious because other people start to think that that's okay. So we don't let that happen in Simsbury. We shouldn't let that happen anywhere. Conscience and consensus is so important. I think that leads to good decisions. I think that helps us make bad decisions. And so I think it's all of our responsibility to get involved. And hopefully there's someone in the room today who never has gotten involved that we've maybe inspired you to get involved. And finally, this is a short trip, whether you've served in public service for 2 years, 24 years, whether you live to be 80, 90, that's a short time period. So what will our legacy be? And I think as a community, we have to constantly ask, what is it we want to leave for our children? So thank you.
Now I'd like to invite up Lydia Tedone, Chair of the Board of Education, to present the Educator of the Year. Mary, I'll bring this over to you.
Deanna's going to put it right in her mantle.
Good. Thank you, Ron. And good afternoon. And thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this annual award ceremony. Once again, it's always a very special time for me to present the special award to a very special educator. And congratulations, of course, to Mary and to Martin on your very well-deserved awards. And thank you for your years of service for the town of Simsbury. I would also like to recognize some special guests at our honorees table. Our honoree is Melissa Fearrington, and we have our superintendent, Matt Curtis, our assistant superintendents, Aaron Murray and Susan Lemke, and our outgoing principal, Neil Curtis, and Melissa's, Neil Sullivan. And how quickly we forget, Neil. And Jacqueline Petrella, who is the math department supervisor. So with that, the Educator of the Year Award is a rich source of inspiration for all those who are responsible for educating our students. Whether it's a new teacher needing someone to look up to, or a mentoring veteran teacher proud of his or her protege. This award is recognized acknowledgement of Melissa's commitment to excellence. So Melissa has a very different career path. She started as a computer programmer and then went on to be a systems engineer, and then went on to the route to alternative certification for teachers. For the past 7 years at Simsbury High School, Melissa taught math, geometry, and presently computer science, and she's even taught several Saturday classes. That's dedication. She's had a very busy year. A few of her highlights from this year: she wrote a grant for a course, completed an 8-week training program last summer, received the funding necessary for the tablets for her classroom, and is now teaching the new AP Intro Computer Science course. This past December, she was behind our district's commitment in a nationwide initiative to introduce students to computer science and programming known as the Hour of Code. She was one of 100 teachers honored at a White House event for this very special distinction. She was also the driving force behind our district's commitment to this initiative. So you had quite a very busy year. For those of us who are unfamiliar with coding, it's a real hot topic right now. Okay, so I admit my naivety. I had to Google coding in the classroom. I thought I knew all about it, about all the TV shows. Little did I know. So I did. I Googled it, I Wikipedia'd it, and I found out why it's so important in their classroom. And I even watched the YouTube Coding for Beginners. But to really understand what makes this special teacher, Melissa, an exemplary person, I solicited comments with help from her colleagues, which include: her real-world experience in the tech field makes her unique in the classroom setting. She makes connections for her students so they appreciate the usefulness of what they're doing, whether it's big data, data security, or even an inoperable computer. So I also solicited with help comments from some of her students. Jason and Zach are two of them. And they had said, she takes the time to figure out what we know and what we don't know. She's done so much for us to learn the material, not just memorize it for the AP test. She did so much for the computer science at Simsbury High School, she set me on my career path, another student had quoted. Melissa understands the right preparation makes all the difference, what students really need to know upon leaving one of her courses, and how to help them with the critical skills versus just exposing them to the basic concepts. One of her personal goals is to encourage women to discover the world of computer engineering. And one of her favorite quotes, which I was very privy to, was to her students, "Don't be scared, just try it." Melissa knows how to unlock her students' futures, expand their connections, and introduce them to the world of opportunities in computer science. Another of her favorite sayings to her student is, "A proportion never lies." This must do with coding, a proportion. Let's do it again. So, truth be told, last night after the Simsbury High School art show, I decided to go visit Melissa's classroom, room 333 on the 3rd floor. And as I entered into the classroom, I learned a little bit more about Melissa. With all the posters on the wall, the textbooks that she has lying around, and I thought there was one particular something that just defined who Melissa is. And I thought I'd be a little bit closer, but she has a very favorite t-shirt on the wall that says, "Code like a girl." So I think that sums it up about this very special teacher. And with that, I have great pleasure and pride. It's my distinct honor to present you our Educator of the Year, Melissa Fearrington. Please join me.
Technology. We can't live without it. We rely on technology to stay informed, to communicate, to make your business decisions, to get up in the morning. We are all comfortable using technology, but just being users of technology is no longer enough. Our students, your children, today need to be innovators with technology. They need to learn to create using technology. And that is why it's so important for computer science education. It helps to nurture problem-solving skills, logic, and creativity, and it gives students the foundations that they need to be successful in 21st century occupations all across the board. To give you a little idea of the scope of the opportunities in computer science, I want to share with you some statistics from the National Science Foundation and the Conference Board. I'm looking only at 2 states, Connecticut and Massachusetts, last year, 2013-2014. In Connecticut, 9,126 open computing jobs. And last year, Connecticut graduated 486 computer science graduates. In Massachusetts, 20,838 open computing jobs, and Massachusetts graduated 2,444 students. Roughly, last year we were looking at 29,000 open computing opportunities in our 2 states, with a new population of graduates prepared to take these jobs of 2,900. Obviously, it's a problem. And that's where the hour of code comes in. Most students, most parents don't really know what coding is. Lydia admitted she didn't know herself. And that's what the Hour of Code is designed to do. It's a national effort to expose students to computer science and expose students to computer programming. It's designed to demystify what coding is. It's designed to break some of those stereotypes and to get students interested in pursuing computer science, and also to give them the knowledge and the belief in themselves that they can do this. So that is what sparked my interest in trying to promote this national program here in Simsbury. So it took a lot of effort to prepare for this event. So after gaining the support of my supervisor, Jacqueline, and the central office and the principals, my students and I had a lot of work to do. The first thing we had to do is we had to prepare lessons for the elementary teachers to be able to teach these courses. My AP computer science students taught the teachers. We had a professional development in November, and it was a great example of role reversal, and I'm not sure who got the most out of it, the students or the teachers. So after we trained the teachers to teach these lessons to the children, then we had to offer support. So I had 39 of my computer science students went to the elementary and middle school to assist in these computer science lessons with the teachers. Their enthusiasm was incredible. The students across the board, kindergarten through high school, I think all had a really great experience. Some of my favorites, I was in a class at Latimer Lane, and I heard a little third grade boy tell one of his classmates, "I want to do that when I get to high school." They were just so in awe of these high school students that were visiting in their class. I watched another girl finish her coding exercise and look around and realize she was the first one in the class to finish. And the smile on her face and the realization that this is something that not only could she do, but she just did that better than everybody else in her classroom was huge. And these are the kinds of things that we're trying to promote with the computer science education. So I'm grateful for all of the support that I received from Jacqueline Petrella, Aaron Murray, Matt Curtis, and the school board. The project would not have been possible without the support of every district's principal and all of the teachers at every school. The success of the project was due primarily to my students who so enthusiastically shared their programming experiences. And of course, my students are already talking about it, and we look forward to doing this again next year. I would like to thank the Chamber for this recognition, but more importantly, I thank you for your commitment to education. Simsbury students and teachers are lucky to have your support. Thank you.
All right, with that, I now declare the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce annual meeting adjourned. I wish you all a great day and a wonderful year. Take care.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.